We're live. Welcome, painters. We are live from Colorado patio again. Thanks for joining me. It is another beautiful sunny day. We're going to be here live every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Good Lord willing, all to help you become a better plein air painter. We're going to be on the patio here doing plein air still lifes. If the weather's bad, we'll go in the studio. And again, all to inspire you to start plein air painting or to encourage you and educate us to keep going and improve with our plein air painting skills. Welcome again. Beautiful sunny day. So what we have here is I have two tips or techniques that I want to talk about with plein air still life that will help you, make a beautiful still life. But of course, the goal is to be better landscape plein air painters. So that's what this is going to do. And so stick around for that. If you're watching on replay, feel free to skip around, find the content that suits you best, and watch some other videos if you'd like. And hey, if we're just meeting for the first time, I'm Terry. My passion is plein air painting, plein air landscape painting, oil painting. Enjoying God's beauty, being outside in the beautiful peace and quiet nature, and plein air painting. So we've got this still life here. Let's take a look at what we have. All right. So I have the painting already done from a few days ago. The shadows are a little different, and we're going to talk about. I left the watermelon. I left it undone. So last week I started from scratch. I just did the drawing, and this week I wanted to just show you a little bit of stuff so I could talk about the apple. And then I want to paint the watermelon because it's just such a beautiful color. It's a little bit harder fruit to paint, And if you have questions or comments on that as we go, fire it off. We're going to have a live Q&A at the very end, about 10 minutes. It's about a 30-minute show every week. And if you can, save your questions till the end. But if you got to go, throw them in there, and I'll try to get to them, or I'll get to them afterward. And let's see, what else? Can you see? Last week, we had the purple Mars look, and I apologize, but hey, it's like plein air painting. It's the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen, and you just got to kind of roll with it. So thanks for rolling with it with me. All right, if you're there, let me know. Hey, Eric, good to see you again. Thank you very much for joining us. And the watermelon is real. Yes, sir. It's real. In fact, I'm going to eat it after I paint it. I love watermelon. How about you? And then the apple's real. I know with the camera, it's hard. Things look far away. I'm standing 2 or 3 feet from this table. I mean, I can reach out and touch the table. But hey, Eric, since you're on, can we see? Do we have a purple color? Are we okay? I've got an umbrella over the camera, so maybe I need to kind of just shift this down a bit. There, is that a little better? You can see the apple maybe, and more of the still life right there. Sorry, I'm going to get my ugly mug in here, but. Yeah, exactly. The colors on the watermelon, yeah, exactly, are just awesome. And there's, I think we're going to talk about it right now. We're going to start painting here, but the temptation is just to paint the watermelon 1 or 2 colors, but I see 3 or 4 colors in there, and so it's going to be super super fun. But hey, real quick before we get going, this live stream is brought to you by my free private unlisted video. Many of you have already downloaded it. But if you haven't, it is called Complete Guide to Plein Air Setup. The link is in the description. So if you want to know everything about setup and supplies that I've experienced and my tips and advice for getting started, download that. I think it'll really help you. And it gives you access to my newsletter and our community, which I do separate emails privately once or twice a week. Okay. So hey, let's get started here. I've got 2 tips, 2 techniques I want to talk about when we're talking about still life painting. So I got my coffee. Do you? I got to get my caffeine. It helps me paint better. So here we go. I don't know if you probably can't see my palette, but if you have questions about whoa, painting down again. Sorry. Thought I had that there. There we go. It's not really that windy, but stuff like that's going to happen. All right, paper towels, brushes. I'm going to use for this watermelon, I am going to use, I got this new brush. I use mostly number 12 filberts. But I got this one. It's a Robert Simmons Signet, and it's a flat, and it's big. I like it because it's almost an inch wide, And so I think you know what? I'm gonna use that for this watermelon. First time using it, so we'll see how it goes. All right. So I've got some colors pre-mixed, but the first thing I'm gonna do with this watermelon, and I'll talk about my tips here as we go. But still life is the best practice for plein air painting. It really is. The Russian Impressionists had it. Nailed it when they said that if you can paint a still life, you can paint anything. And the reason for that is, and let's just get into kind of tip number 1, is it's a comparison game. It really is. some things in life you don't really want to play the comparison game, but in painting, especially plein air painting, you really do. You're comparing objects and pieces and colors. That's the whole secret. You're comparing shadow to shadow, green to this green, light to light, and you're constantly painting and comparing and analyzing as you go. So right now, I'm going to use a little odorless terpenoid and mineral spirits to kind of thin this out, and I'm just going to get kind of a, just a general color on that watermelon. I should say, whenever I start a painting, I start with my darkest dark, and if you watch my videos, you know that. And my darkest darks are underneath this apple right here. And not so much today because I'm painting about a half hour later than I actually painted the painting on the table. But this is a darkest dark. This watermelon rind, if you will. So let me just kind of get that color in real quick. And I'm going to use like ultramarine blue. And then I've got some various green mixtures mixed up. But I'm just going to put that in. I got to go a little darker right there, ultramarine blue. And hey, guys, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate you guys being here. I'm just taking a look at the chat. Let me know, hey, are you guys painting this weekend? That's what I want to know. Throw it in the chat. What are you painting? Where are you painting? Let me know. I hope you are. So summer's coming to an end. So we got to, okay, the purple color is better than last week. Yeah, it's tough. It's, it's the sunlight. And that's why we're just going to have some patience with myself and experiment as we go. I'm going to dip in a little phthalo green. If you don't have that phthalo green color, it's kind of a nice, cool color that does a lot. It has a lot of utility and flexibility. So I really like that. So let's look at this watermelon. There's multiple colors in there. Let's just go now with the white part of that rind. Is that what you call that white part, the watermelon? I'm going to grab like a little flat, maybe a 6 or 8 flat, go into some titanium white. It's kind of that cool, white yellow color right there. And I'm just going to try to get that. And it's mostly all in sunshine right there. And the apple is kind of sitting in front of it. So what I didn't cover today that I covered last time was pieces, placement, proportion, perspective. Whenever you do still life painting, it's all about drawing. That's why we do this. If you can become a better drawer with your paintbrush, you'll become a better plein air painter. So it's the proportion of the apple compared to the watermelon, the proportion of the watermelon compared to the flowers, and then placement. Everything has a boundary where it goes. So when I draw these shadows, I'll just show you right now. The way I do it is I do cross hatching. So I filled this in last night real quick, but the way I do shadows is I'll draw it out real quick, and then I just go like this. I cross hatch it. And if you're an art major or have art, you kind of know what that is. It just kind of helps you describe and show where the shadow is there. Well, welcome again for joining us, and I appreciate you guys being here. Again, I'll do questions, and we'll have a little conversation at the very end, but let's try to burn through this watermelon, and let's do this. So I see different colors in the red, okay? So one thing that you can do is, I'm just going to get some more paper towels here. When we talk about still life, there's the 3 major components are light, shadow, and cast shadow, right? So that watermelon's almost completely in light. So light, and then if there's any shadow on it, and then cast shadow. Those are the 3. There's 4 other elements of light. I don't want to get into it today. We will down the road, but those are the things you got to think about. Now look at this apple real quick. I know I keep saying I'm going to paint this watermelon, but I want to show you something real quick, okay? Light, shadow. Let's use this. Light, shadow, and cast shadow. And then when light hits an object, look at my tree painting video if you didn't watch that yet, but light is coming from here and it's washing over these objects. So I have to show, what I want to show as an artist is the turn of the light on the object. So I want to show this as being washed out. And then the middle part is called the halftone. So if you don't know what a halftone is, or you don't include that in your paintings, study up on that a little bit. It's the actual color of the apple or the object without the light washing it out, or without the shadow washing it out, right? So it's right when it turns and stops there in the middle, and then it goes into the shadows. That makes sense? And then you want to have that nice, cool shadow colors. All right, I'm going to go into alizarin crimson, a nice, cool red color. And I'm just going to kind of put that there. like that, because I do see kind of the, they're not really pits, but like the pock marks or the seed marks. I think it's a seedless watermelon, but I do see a few seeds. I'm just going to put that there like that, because there's 2 or 3 reds in there, you know? So you want to show that. You don't want to just do it all the same color, right? And now let's paint that real faded out, washed out. You know, that's what makes a watermelon so appetizing, is kind of that like crystal, you know, reddish white color. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm going to go titanium white and then a little cad red. And I'm just going to leave that like that. I might put a little cerulean blue in there, but there's hints of it like right there where the light is hitting it, you know, on top. And then more so right there, like that. Okay, so now you're starting to kind of see this develop into different colors and values. And so let's work on this part right here, the shadow part. It's kind of hard, the rind or whatever you want to call that. And I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush. It looked different when I painted it. So what you want to do is go into maybe some cad yellow light or cad yellow and mix that in your green pile, and then just show this reflected light, you know, how the design of the bottom of the watermelon like that, you know? So light is bouncing up from the tablecloth into this piece of the watermelon. So that's another aspect of light that we need to know about, is reflected light. It's always reflecting everywhere. And with that apple, that's the highlight right there. That's the last thing you put on a still life piece of fruit, your highlight, your accents, your darkest dark, your lightest light, and your accents. And the accent, well, it's a cool light color, reflecting off there. So let's try to denote some of the kind of the seed marks or where the seeds were or whatever. Again, it's going to be darker. So just cad red and alizarin crimson and maybe a little bit of cerulean blue to really make it, you know, the darkest thing on the watermelon. There's kind of a jagged edge there from me getting it out of the fridge, you know, like that. And then you don't want to paint every little, at least not in my style, every little seed mark, but I can show a little bit of perspective, you know, by making them bigger here and smaller as they dissipate down the watermelon, because I'm kind of looking at the watermelon at an angle. So I can kind of make them bigger here like that. And then just make them a little bit, you know, randomly smaller as we go. And I can just do a big brush stroke like that if I want. But now you're seeing some reds develop in there. And then this is a really cool thing to give your watermelon a more realistic look. Watch this. So we'll go titanium white. Okay, and I'm going to put it in that cad red titanium white pile that I mixed up earlier for this color. And just put a hint of cerulean blue there. A hint of cerulean blue. It's a cool, because it's that right here. You can see these kind of cool bluish red shadows, and then just mix it together and just put hints of it in there. I even need a little more cerulean blue. It's kind of like that warm and that cool I talk about. The quorum kind of made up that word, but you can kind of do that. Just mix your brush, swipe it through the warm and the cool, and it gives you this other look of like these shadows and things happening in the watermelon, you know. And then if we wanted to, let's look at those seeds. There's some little, you know, those little yellow golden seeds. You just go titanium white and then cad yellow medium. And the sun's hitting most of them, but you can just kind of, without drawing every seed, you can just kind of show just a little hint. I know it might be hard for you to see, but just little hints of those seeds on there like that with the light hitting them to give it that more realistic look with the watermelon. Okay, just keeping track of the time here for you guys, but I guess let me say this about point number 2. I've already gone through point number 1, which is it's a comparison game. But when you're painting a still life or a landscape, plein air, you really want to ask yourself these 3 questions, and it's what value is it, what color is it, and what temperature is it? And as you progress through the painting, you want to constantly be asking yourself, like that watermelon. If you heard me talking, some of it was cool, some of it was warm, some of it was dark, some of it was light. So in my mind, I was saying, is it lighter or darker? Is it warmer or cooler? And then you can kind of, here's how I would finish this watermelon. And this is really kind of messy and quick. I'm sorry, but I would just dip into some pure cad red, because a watermelon is like fresh and juicy, and like Eric was saying, it's delicious, man. And so maybe a little bit of alizarin crimson, but that nice kind of red watermelon color right there, that the light is hitting, that you see, and then just help define the piece a little bit. This would be kind of the molding stage, whatever you call that stage, but I call it the forming stage, where we take the two-dimensional shape and we give some three-dimensional look to it, And then I can go back and forth. Like I covered up some stuff, but I can go and put that, that reflected light in there. And so we're making some progress there. I'm missing anything in the chat? You guys got stuff you're talking about, saying, whatever? Let me see if there's and help each other out too. If you guys have answers or questions or comments, go ahead and help each other out if I'm missing some questions, but I'll get to those in about 5 minutes here. And let's see, what do you want to work on that? Let's pop a flower color. You want to just kind of do that to finish up? And it's kind of just a beautiful flower pot. Notice how just before I hooked up live, I did this. There's some reflected light catching itself in the flower pot. It's a cool violet color. So you want to look for stuff like that in the shadow of the pot or plant holder, whatever you call it. And if I was going to pop those flowers, what I would do is, to set it up, it's all about the shadows, right? The shadows do the heavy lifting and the light gets the credit. So if I did the shadows right, I should just be able to dip into like some pure cad yellow, a little bit of cad orange. And really don't even need any medium, but I could dip into my liquid impasto if I wanted to make it a little more buttery. And I could just go like that. See, my style is kind of thick and impressionistic. You don't have to do that. If you want to do realism, then just draw it out with your brush. Make it exact. Make every petal count, but my style is just kind of quick, emotional, colorful brush strokes, but I would just do it like that. And then the light and the shadow play of all that is what is really, really nice, so you can just kind of do stuff like that. And it's these shadows in here, that set all that up and make it possible. So how are we doing on time? Let's go into, let's kind of just work on one of these shadows real quick. So you can see, with these shadows, I mixed up a mixture of titanium white, and you want to always compare shadow to shadow. And they're fairly dark, but they're like a violet color. And then I would go into ultramarine blue, a little permanent rose, or whatever your red is. So if you have alizarin crimson, cad red, and I'm just mixing with a palette knife right now to keep things neat, but I can test it and just kind of go like that. It's too light. So maybe a little more ultramarine blue. And then what I would do with this shadow is, it's purple. It leans on the side of violet, but I put a little cad orange in it to what we call desaturate it. And if you hear that term, it just means make it less chromatic and colorful. Dial it down with the color, really. So do that real quick, mix it up, dip into my liquid impasto medium. We were talking about mediums last week, and we can talk some more about that in a minute, but I'm going to do a little more on the red side, a little more permanent rose, that shadow. When you do a shadow, just kind of just like that, that's how I would do that. Just real quick, just like that. You can bring the shadow up into the fruit if you'd like. See, blurred edges in here. You don't want to make everything like a hard, fine edge in your painting, because the eye will go to where the edge is. So you want there to be lost and found edges, some soft areas, like maybe right there, just kind of soft. Take your brush like that and lift up, bring down if you want. And lastly, that flower pot color there. Let's do the light side of it. I've got it too orange. Today it's looking a little more like reddish orange. So I'm going to put some cad orange, and I'm going to put some cad yellow medium, and just see if I can find that color. You don't always find it on the first try, but it's pretty close. Just right there. So everything is either in the light or in the shadow, and I'm just comparing. So when I put that down, I was comparing it to the red, And there's even more like deeper, darker red in there as well, you know, just kind of like that. So I go quick, thick brush strokes. Here's the light on the tablecloth, which kind of plays well with these shadows. I didn't do this shadow right here, but I want to get into your questions here in a minute. So those are our 2 tips. Let's review real quick. When it comes to plein air still life, studio still life, talking outdoor, plein air painting is kind of my jam, but is number one, it's a comparison game. So as you paint, you got to compare the pieces. You're painting pieces. You're not painting an apple. You're painting the light on the apple and the shadow on the apple. And so I hope that'll help you. And then, secondly, it's all about the, cleaning it's all about color, value, and temperature. So what color is it? What value is it? And what temperature is it? Sunscreen and sweat in the eyes. I'll stop right there. Let me look at you got any questions? We can I'll just pull up a stool here and we'll look at that. Maybe we can paint for another few minutes. But I hope that gives you some ideas on how I approach my painting. I'm going to make a loud noise here, the stool, and just kind of pull in here and try to read the chat and see what you guys got. So if you got questions, fire away. I will do my best to help. If I don't have the answer, I'll help you get it. And if you have an answer in the chat, feel free to throw that out there for other people to learn. So, all right, Eric's got a question here. I want to switch from acrylic to oil. Gamblin and Winton have been recommended to me as a brand of paint I should use. What brand do you like? I should have brought my tubes out, but I'll tell you, Eric, I like Gamblin. I love Gamblin. If I could show you my palette here, I would show you something that, I'd recommend that beginners start with student grade oil. So I would use the Winton. I forget Gamblin's student brand, but Winsor & Newton has one called Winton. Take a look at that one, Eric. That's a good brand. And also Utrecht. In my links below, I promote Utrecht. I have a relationship with them, but an affiliate relationship. What I like about Utrecht is it's kind of a good combination of good pigment and cost. So try Utrecht. The thing I don't like about Utrecht is a lot of the linseed oil, the oil settles up. You know how kind of like you take out the mustard or ketchup and you put it on your hot dog and it's all liquid and you're like, oh man. Well, sometimes their paint can be like that, but I feel Utrecht has good, strong pigmentation and strength and color, but it doesn't cost as much. But Gamblin, if I had to choose, it'd be Winsor & Newton or Gamblin. Artist grade oils is what I would use. I think you said Gamblin, and then someone said acrylic to oil. Winton. Yeah, Winton for sure. I would go with that. So, and then every week my instructor keeps telling me paint what you see and not what you think you're looking at. Yeah, that's a good point, Eric. I mean, it's I think I said that last week that when I was doing my apprenticeship in Russian Impressionism, I wrote down one day on my notes, hey, you've been painting trees and rivers and mountains by name. And because your tendency, like I said, is to want to define it and to categorize it and put a size and a shape and a number to it. And that's not what plein air painting is about in my book. Plein air painting is about capturing the emotion, the memory of you being there and what you experienced there, because other people relate to it, so wherever you live, your unique scenery, if it's rivers, if it's cornfields, if it's mountains, if you can learn to paint colors and values and temperatures and shapes and get real good at your color mixing, you'll really improve very, very quickly. And so I think your instructor has some wise advice there. And yeah, we're all still trying to get there, man. We're all still trying to do that. So it's a lifelong process, but that's what's so cool about plein air. It's challenging. It's never easy. It's always a challenge. And I'm going to put something in the chat there and just see if it works. Yeah, I better not touch this. Might get us disconnected. Fire your questions away. Another common question, I'll answer this. We were talking about mediums last week. Hold on. I just bought this. Remember how I was saying I was kind of brought up on copal, that carcinogenic medium that I think they still sell it, but I just love it though because it's like syrupy and liquidy. And I like that in my later stages of my painting. But I bought this Galkid light, And I don't know if you've ever experimented with Galkid Light or Galkid. This is a Gamblin product, and I'm excited to try it out. I was going to try it for this, but I didn't. But I think the Galkid Light, it is it's not the healthiest stuff. It is kind of a, harmful, to the lungs or whatever. But if you're plein air painting, I think it's okay to use stuff like this. I mean, in your studio, I'd be a little bit careful, but the stuff I was looking for that I found was this Gamblin solvent-free gel. If you're concerned about your lungs and breathing stuff in, and you want to go the safe way, sorry, maybe you see that. Try that stuff. This is what I'm currently using right now. It's Liquid Impasto right here by Winsor & Newton, and it's kind of it's like a buttery toothpaste kind of stuff. I've showed you that before, but I'm excited to try this Galkid just to see if I like it. And then you're saying, yeah, I like, what kind of brushes do you like? I like hog's hair. I like natural fibers. I've tried synthetic brushes and they just suck. I'm sorry. That's just my personal opinion. They just don't last very long. I bought one just a while ago and I just don't like it. So I buy different brands. I try them out. I feel like Robert Simmons, one of our other subscribers was agreeing with me on this, that Robert Simmons brush, this is an old one. It's an Egbert. This is that one I used for the tree painting video, I think. And it's kind of wild. It's got a big long bristle, and it's old. But I feel like Robert Simmons brushes have that durability, that they can last. But I use hog's hair, and I use number 12 filberts mostly. And again, this new one was a flat. I'm going to start getting a few more flats in my artillery. I usually use the filberts, big old filberts is what I use. Any other questions? Fire away. I'm sorry if I'm missing any. If I did, just type it in again. But I think that, with the brushes, these things, a common question that I was going to mention that we get a lot lately is how do you clean your brushes? And to your point, Eric, these are not cheap. I mean, you want to get a good brush, because I think it really does make a difference in your how your brush marks come off on your painting, and so you want to take care of them. And what I would highly recommend, I was thinking of this when we were filming this waterfall. We finished up that 4-wheeling waterfall painting, my family and I, that we started and couldn't finish. We finished it up, and I was thinking to myself when I was leaving, my wife was looking, and what I do is to protect your brushes, before you leave a plein air site, use some solvent. And I know, this is odorless mineral spirits or solvent. Before you leave, the temptation is to pack up, wipe your brush with a paper towel, stick it in your brush holder, and go home and clean it later. Don't do that, because by the time you get home, depending on how far you are, that oil paint can seep in between these bristles and stay there, and it's hard to get out. So you want to protect them before you leave. Just kind of do one of these real quick, and then wipe it off, and then stick it in wet in your brush holder, and take it home that way. And then what I do, and I'd like to know your opinion on this, put it in the chat how you clean your brushes, but there's varying opinions. But what I like to do lately is clean them in odorless mineral spirits on site, and then when I get home again, I'll do it, and then I will do a final cleaning with soap and water. You can get stuff like, I saw this product called EcoSolve. Do a little research on EcoSolve and see it's not a solvent-based cleaner. It's a natural. It's like vegan-based. You can eat it. No, EcoSolve, and then dish soap, and of course walnut oil, linseed oil. So people will use those, but you want to protect these. Is my point. Is you want to clean them right, and you want to protect them. And so I think brushes, just experiment with what you like. There's flats, there's filberts, there's all kinds of different shapes, and it just depends on your style. And I know, Eric, you got a pretty cool style, unique style. I was looking at your stuff, and just experiment. Like, I'm still experimenting. Every month or two I order a different. This is a Raphael brand, and it was okay, but man, did it wear down quickly. I wasn't happy with that. This one here, okay, so this happens with brushes too. This is a silver brush, but where the ferrule goes in, this silver part, it gets loose, and I can't stand that. Because when I'm painting, I can feel it like vibrate. But this brush, the bristles are really, 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 really good. I like that. Okay, we're wanting to respect your time. We're drawing near here. If there's any final questions, fire them at me, and let me know. But I encourage you to keep plein air painting. And if there's no other questions, we'll wrap it up and watch this next video coming out. It's that four-wheeling trip we did with my family up to paint a waterfall, and it's coming out in about a week or two. So check that out. And I'll put another video up here that you can look at. I guess that masterclass, how to pop your colors. Check that out. And I think you'll get a lot of information, 12 tips on how I like to pop my colors when I'm plein air painting. But if you're new to this channel and plein air painting is your thing, it's our thing. We love it. So subscribe and hit the bell. That way every week or two you'll be notified of some stuff. But I don't know. I might let's see one more comment here. Yeah, brush cleaner. That's a good idea. Like you can get like Murphy's, I think Murphy's soap, and then there's different. I should have brought mine out, but they're called brush cleaner tanks. And I think Bob Ross had one of those ones. I think I actually still have a Bob Ross one where you just rub it on the nice gentle mesh screen and it cleans it in the liquid for you. And those are awesome to use, as well. But thanks for joining us, guys. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you up in the mountains next time, or I'll see you next Friday here. And God bless. You take care. Keep on painting. See ya.